Deep beneath the sun-baked soil of Italy, hidden among the ruins of ancient Roman villas, lies a secret carved in stone. It is not gold or jewels, but something far more mysterious, the myth of the Labyrinth. Long ago, before Rome was an empire, before it was even a city, people told stories of twisting paths and monstrous creatures. These stories were so powerful that the Romans carved them into their homes, a reminder of a tale older than time itself. Our story begins in a time when gods and men walked the same earth. In the heart of the Mediterranean, on the island of Crete, there lived a king named Minos. He was a proud ruler, blessed by the gods, but his pride would bring him a terrible curse. Minos prayed to Poseidon, god of the sea, to send him a sign of his favor. The god answered by sending a magnificent white bull from the waves, a creature so beautiful it seemed divine. But Minos, greedy and deceitful, kept the bull for himself instead of sacrificing it as he had promised. Poseidon's wrath was swift. He made the king's wife, Queen Pasiphae, fall in love with the bull. From this unnatural union, a monster was born, the Minotaur, a beast with the body of a man and the head of a bull. It was a creature of rage and hunger, impossible to tame. Horrified by what he had created, King Minos ordered his greatest craftsman, Daedalus, to build a prison from which the Minotaur could never escape. And so the Labyrinth was born. Daedalus, a man of unmatched skill, designed a maze so complex that no one who entered could ever find their way out. Its walls twisted and turned, its paths doubled back on themselves, a puzzle without an answer. The Minotaur was placed at its heart, and there it remained, feeding on the sacrifices sent by King Minos. For years, the people of Athens were forced to send 7 young men and 7 young women into the labyrinth, a terrible price for an old war. The monster devoured them all, and their bones were lost in the endless dark. But every story needs a hero. Theseus, the prince of Athens, could not bear the suffering of his people. He vowed to end the slaughter, to enter the labyrinth and kill the Minotaur. With the help of Minos' own daughter, Ariadne, he found a way to survive. She gave him a simple thread, a lifeline he could unravel as he walked deeper into the maze, so that when the deed was done he could follow it back to freedom. Armed with nothing but courage and a sword, Theseus stepped into the darkness. The labyrinth was worse than any nightmare. The air was thick with the stench of blood, the walls whispering with the echoes of lost souls. Theseus walked for hours, the thread trailing behind him, until at last he found the beast. The Minotaur roared, its monstrous form towering over him, but Theseus did not falter. The battle was fierce, but in the end the hero drove his blade into the monster's heart. The Minotaur fell, and the curse was broken. Following the thread back to the entrance, Theseus emerged victorious. He freed the remaining sacrifices and sailed home a legend. But the story does not end there. Centuries later, the Romans, who loved tales of heroes and monsters, carved this myth into the floors of their villas. Mosaic after mosaic, they retold the story of the labyrinth, of Theseus and the Minotaur. These were not just decorations. They were warnings, lessons, reminders of the dangers of pride and the power of courage. Why did they choose this myth? Perhaps because the labyrinth was more than a maze, it was a symbol. Life itself is a labyrinth, full of twists and turns, dangers and choices. The Romans, like the Greeks before them, understood that every person must face their own monsters. Today, when we walk through the ruins of Roman villas and see these ancient mosaics, we are walking through the echoes of an old story. The stones whisper to us, telling of heroes and beasts, of fear and triumph. The labyrinth is not just a myth. It is a part of us, carved not only into Roman villas, but into the very heart of human history. And so the tale lives on, as stories always do, waiting for the next person to listen, to remember, to step into the maze and find their own way out.